Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 25 next gen online game. Today we have the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Haven't played with the Titans much lately, which kind of surprises me because they're not exactly the worst team to play with in Madden. They got a pretty fun duo at running back and quarterback with Locker and Chris Johnson, and then the receiving threat. Nothing's really too bad about this team. I don't know, just haven't played with them too much, but this is a pretty old game. This is from a few weeks ago when the next gen version just came out. I think this game's from November. So, I got this game up here while we talk about the playoffs. Because the playoffs, the wildcard weekend, was pretty damn awesome, man. On a scale of 1 to 10, you probably have to say this weekend combined all the games were a 9.5 out of 10. And, the Eagles game, Eagles and Saints was probably a 9 out of 10. The Colts and Chiefs, that was an 11 out of 10. The Packers and Niners, that had to be a 9.5 or 10 out of 10. That was a really good game. And then the Chargers and Bengals, which is probably the dud of the weekend, if you want to say, that was still an 8 out of 10. And we could start off with that because, even though it was, they're not the closest game, just for the upset factor, the Chargers winning that game. And I say upset factor, but at the same time, it wasn't exactly the biggest surprise of the weekend because the Bengals are used to losing on wildcard weekend. They've done it for 3 years in a row with Andy Dalton. With Andy Dalton, you go to the playoffs, and with Andy Dalton, you lose in the wildcard weekend. But it wasn't just Andy Dalton. The run game of the Chargers was just too much. They ran the ball, and Cincinnati, they had it kind of good for the first half, but once the second half started, the running game opened up more, and then Andy Dalton kind of took him out the game. Though, the one thing you can't blame him for was the Giovanni Bernard fumble. That definitely changed the momentum of the game. Bengals, I believe, had the lead already and were going to put up more points. Instead, Bernard fumbles the ball, and the Chargers are able to stay in the game, go into the half, and then in the second half, Chargers put up some points. Philip Rivers didn't exactly come out as a gunslinger in that game. They had a really balanced attack, but Philip Rivers didn't really make any mistakes in the game like Andy Dalton did. And, it just raises all the questions about whether Dalton can do things in the playoffs. And you see Chris Johnson staying in bounds there. Next play, 3rd down and 1. We give it back to CJ 2K. Juking that guy again in the end zone and tying the game up. Ugly start for us. We almost threw 2 interceptions at the start, punting the ball. Gave up an opening touchdown drive by him. But we get the touchdown right back there, so pretty good for us. But yeah, Chargers are in the playoffs, and they're still in it. They're going to Denver next weekend, and anything can happen with this Charger team. The one thing I always think back on with these Chargers is not even anything that happened during week 17. It's when they won against Denver. After that Thursday night football game, Philip Rivers came on the TNF set, and he was so hyped up and everything. Some people are like, oh yeah, Philip Rivers, you need to chill. But he was just so so excited about that game, and they've just been riding that kind of excitement and intensity all the way to the playoffs, winning their past 6 games now. I think they're the hottest team in the AFC. And, anything can happen when that, man. I said on Twitter, too, that the January football is just better when Philip Rivers is on the sidelines yelling at someone. It's good to see Philip Rivers have a bounce-back season like that. As 3rd down and 14, we got a key stop here to get the ball right for half to hopefully put up some points because he does get ball at the second half here. And so that's the Chargers and Bengals. Next game to talk about is the Eagles and Saints because that game was very close, and the Saints just ended up having the last possession of the game. Now, during the game, for the most part, I think, it's a general consensus that the Saints were playing better. It's just that, Drew Brees made a few uncharacteristic mistakes, yet somewhat characteristic since it was on the road. As another drop pick. We're kind of getting away with these drop picks. They're definitely not playing one of my better games. And 3rd down and 10, fortunately, that's a drop for a drop, and we have to punt the ball here. But look at that punt, though. 1 yard line punt. Are you serious, man? That was a pretty sick-ass punt. And we're going to try to get a safety here. Look at this. He comes down goal line. He's kind of fretting it. And we actually call a timeout here. I'm like, you know what? Let's do a little strategy move. He's at the 3 yard line. He can't really do much. Let's see if we can force him into a punt or a turnover here and try to get some points before halftime. He just chucks it up. And he gets it. Okay. Really? Now suddenly he's near field goal range. And with 6 seconds left, he's got a chance to get a quick throw into field goal range, which he does. But Bernard Pollard makes up for dropping the pick by causing a fumble, and Zach Brown recovers, and we go into halftime tied after all of that. But yeah, if the Eagles had the last possession in that game, I think the Eagles would have won. But the Saints, they didn't even need Drew Brees that much. The biggest thing Drew Brees did on the last drive was quarterback sneaking. And even with that, the big sneak they did, that was more the fullback Jed Collins getting that first down than Drew Brees. As we get a nice interception there. Once again, Zach Brown having a nose for the ball out there. But yeah, the Saints, they just played the clock well, and they won the game, and they won their first ever road playoff game in franchise history. Now, I'm not exactly too confident in them going into Seattle and winning, not just because of what happened in their earlier matchup. I just think Seattle's the better team right now, and I'm not sure how well the Saints will be able to run against Seattle, against the 12th man and all that. And if Drew Brees plays, you know, uncharacteristically like he did against the Eagles, won't exactly be a walk in the park, you know. I would take the Seahawks, but I'll save that kind of predictions for another video. Moving on to the Colts and the Chiefs. That was definitely the game of the weekend. The Chiefs were up 38-10, and then Andrew Luck did his thing. Andrew Luck kind of screwed up in the first half. Now, you can't really put everything on him from that first half. Like, one of the interceptions was in T.Y. Hilton, I believe's hands, and someone just took it away from him. Actually, that might have been a third quarter interception. I'm not too sure. But one of those interceptions, it's kind of fluky. But still, I mean, Andrew Luck made a few mistakes still in the first half. And, you know, with that depleted receiving corps that he's had out there, and with absolutely no running back, he put the team on his back completely. Like, I'm not sure there's another quarterback in the playoffs out there that could put the team on his back like Andrew Luck, as whether it's Fitzpatrick or Locker, they just keep on missing open receivers downfield. But thankfully we get the touchdown there to make it a 21-7 game. Game's looking pretty good for us right now. But yeah, Andrew Luck, like, he is that kind of guy. He's that 1 every 10-year quarterback that you get first round, first overall pick that actually ends up being that good. And he's the real deal. Not much else to say about that. Just can't wait to see what he has in store against New England, because the game is just never over. When you're watching that game, I don't know about you guys, but even though they're down 38-10, I never counted them out until the game ended, just because Andrew Luck is that kind of quarterback. And look at this nonsense. Interception. Okay, I see you, Madden. Like, all these, I'm sure he's had a few drop picks, but this nonsense, all of a sudden the Madden BS Raiders starting to turn into his favor here. And second down and 18, he's just chucking it there, and now it's a drop. As soon as I say that he drops, it passed it. That should have been a first down. But look at this, third down and 18, and we swat it, bringing up a fourth down here as we head to the fourth quarter. And he actually goes for this fourth down and 18 at his own 12. You think he might punt it off, but down 14, heading into the fourth, he just chucks one up here. Not looking good, but Bernard Pollard, what the hell are you doing? After that, I took Bernard Pollard out the game because he might be the most retarded safety in Madden history after that. Like, god damn, 4th and 18, he just chucks it up and gets it. Just for the second time, a prayer is answered because Bernard Pollard has absolutely no ball skills. Now, sure, he caused a fumble, but they should have never been in position for that anyways. That should have been a punt at the end of the first half, as we knocked the ball loose once again out of a Steelers receiver, bringing up second down and 10. Roethlisberger rolling out the pocket, doing his thing, finding Heath Miller for a third down and short, and he finds a receiver crossing the middle there for the touchdown. I believe that's Plaxico, and we're only up 7 heading to the fourth quarter. The final game to talk about is 49ers and Packers. Now, that's a game you would think the 49ers should have won by a few more points. Like, they had great field position for pretty much every drive they had, but they couldn't punch it in a lot. But eventually, you know, the defense held up enough against Aaron Rodgers, and Kaepernick was able to lead a game-winning drive. So, you know, that's definitely a win for the defense, but at the same time, I mean, win that you credit the defense more than the offense, but Kaepernick did his thing in that fourth quarter. You can't deny it. Green Bay just has no answer for Kaepernick's running game, and he just made all... Well, actually, you can't put all on Kaepernick. He almost threw an interception in that fourth quarter. If that was caught, then we would be talking about, you know, Kaepernick, maybe keep Alex Smith over Kaepernick, but the pick was dropped, and Kaepernick did his thing in the fourth quarter. So, since they won the game, you pat Kaepernick in the back, you know? So that game was definitely good though. It could have gone either way. And once again, that's another game where if the opponent had the last possession, who knows? But the Niners did a great job milking the clock down all the way, getting the game-winning field goal in the cold, by the way. Shout out to Phil Dawson. That ball was probably like a freaking brick that he kicked out there, and he kicked it for the game-winning field goal. So that was good for them. And now they move on to the Panthers, which should definitely be a good game as we drop the interception there. That definitely would have ended this game, but next play, that ends up ending the game. Jason McCourty gets the interception, up 14. Even though he has all 3 of his timeouts, he is done. He is gone. He quits. And, well, you can seize the defeat. We accept it, obviously. We take the win. We're not really going to waste time. We're just going to get the win here. So, even though we had an ugly passing game with Fitzpatrick and Locker, We end up winning the game nonetheless. Not one of our better games, but we win the game. So I hope you guys leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more Man 25 online games or whatever you feel like watching. And I will catch you guys next time.